For those of you who know I'm a Devils fan, you may be surprised to see a picture of Henrik Lundqvist behind me on the wall. Well, I assure you that it wasn't my decision, but the decision of the people behind the making of the 2012 edition of NHL goalie calendars. Apparently Lundqvist matches July. You may be surprised to see that while I have defaced the Rangers logo in the top left corner, I haven't defaced Henrik Lundqvist. And there's a good reason. Henrik Lundqvist is a supporter for a campaign called You Can Play. Now, if you've been with me for a while, you may remember the video entitled Thank You Burke Family, which I posted in November of 2009. If you don't, the link is right here. Unfortunately, a couple months after I posted that video, Brendan Burke died in a car accident. But from the tragedy, a great source of hope has emerged. Brendan Burke's brother, Patrick Burke, a scout for the Philadelphia Flyers, has co-founded a campaign called You Can Play. They kicked off the campaign with a PSA featuring Patrick Burke, his father Brian, who's also the general manager for the Toronto Maple Leafs, and a lot of big-name NHLers. The link is right here. Now, in case you guys missed it, I was also fortunate enough, and I'm still very deeply honored, that I was able to contribute my own video. It's hosted through their YouTube account, and you can see the video right here. Now, if you were to tell me a couple of years ago that a campaign was going to be started that preached respect and equality amongst athletes, regardless of sexuality, I would have said that's pretty darn cool. If you had told me 2 years ago that that campaign would have the support of 50 NHLers, a number that's growing, I would have said you're crazy. The support that this campaign has received from NHL players, from universities across Canada and the United States, has been overwhelming. Since it began, You Can Play has picked up a lot of steam amongst the straight community and amongst gay athletes, people like me. Oddly enough, though, it seems that the enthusiasm for You Can Play ends at gay athletes. Average gay people, those that don't play sports, aren't getting behind the campaign as much as they should. Some people are crying foul on You Can Play's non-stance on issues like gay marriage, adoption, etc., etc. However, You Can Play is a non-political campaign. You Can Play is all about acceptance, period. At the end of the day, if people are more apt to be accepting, they're more apt to form their own opinions on issues like that. Other people aren't impressed with the fact that there are 50 NHLers. Some people are saying, well, if this person's doing it, why isn't this person? Now let's talk about those 50 NHL players that are doing it. It would be one thing if these 50 players were told to participate, but they're volunteering. They are volunteering, and that is absolutely amazing. Because these guys aren't nobodies. These guys are superstars. They're stay-at-home defensemen. They're some of the best defensemen in the league, some of the best goalies in the league, some of the best scorers, some of the most feared fighters. And they're all coming together to say, if you can play, you can play. And sure, their PSAs may be scripted, but there have been plenty of unscripted moments of support, as documented by You Can Play in these 3 links. But still, the issue remains that gay people who don't play sports, which, let's face it, is a large percentage of gay people, still aren't getting behind the campaign. They still don't see how it affects them. They see how it affects people like me, but they don't see how it affects them. So let's think about it. Bullying is perhaps the biggest issue in the lives of LGBT teens. And the worst part generally comes during high school. Now, in high school, generally at the top of the social pyramid are the jocks. If these jocks are being taught about acceptance by their heroes, by their coaches of high school teams and of community teams, acceptance of gay people, then it's going to trickle down to everybody else. If it's cool to be accepting, then acceptance is going to catch on. And that's how you make a big difference in the atmosphere of our nations, of our continent's high schools. This is a campaign that I put my full support behind, and it's a campaign that you should too. How? Well, there are a couple of ways. If you want to donate directly or make a large donation, then the link for you to do that is going to be on my chest for the rest of the video. On the other hand, You Can Play is also hosting a t-shirt drive where you can buy a shirt for 18 bucks and all the profit goes to You Can Play. Now you have about 8 days from the posting of this video, so that link is going to be up here. Shirt's going to look a little bit different than this. It's going to be a lot better quality than this. This is one of those custom shirts from the shops for like $10 or so. Now this drive is a prologue to when the official store opens sometime in August, that'll have things like t-shirts as well as helmet stickers and other things like that. I encourage you to donate, I encourage you to buy a shirt, and I encourage you to remember that if you can play, you can play.